Today we're talking about no-brainer chapters for Dead by Daylight. The license that makes so much sense it would basically just print money. So quick note, there's a few franchises that could be on this list that I talked about in a previous video, and I don't want my videos to just be repeating themselves or reusing content, so I'm going to make a playlist where you can hear my thoughts on them. But franchises I've already talked about that would fit on this list are Friday the 13th, The Exorcist, and It to Me. So if you want my thoughts on those and then broken down a little more in depth, definitely check out my other videos in the playlist. Now, let's get into the new picks. Jennifer's Body has transformed from just a successful MTV-esque horror film to a cult classic to what it is now as a feminist horror icon. It gets more and more popular every year. It has a built-in fanbase, a killer that's not only iconic but pretty unique to what we have right now in DBD. And not only would it just be a cool addition to the game, it has the potential to bring in new players and be one of the most popular chapters of all time. Seriously, Jennifer could be the weakest killer in the game's history, and the character is still so beloved we'd have thousands of people maining her. As Jennifer's Body's legacy continues to grow, adding it to DBD is just a perfect and easy choice to me. American Psycho. American Psycho kinda is what Jennifer's Body is, but for frat and finance bros. Patrick Bateman is up there as one of the most requested killers in the game, and I truly have no argument against that. He fits the mold perfect and seems like an incredible fit from a marketing, character potential, and just iconic horror character from an underrepresented time in horror in Dead by Daylight right now. It would also give them an option to try getting Christian Bale's likeness, or if they went another direction with it, taking that first step into horror novels. But if done right, it could be one of the most stylish chapters in the game's history. Trick or Treat. Sam is one of horror's most beloved modern icons. This one feels like one of the most obvious crossovers possible. Great visual design, a strong fan base, and a perfect opportunity for another Halloween themed map. Even with only one movie in the series and one tiny short animation, every October the merch for Trick or Treat flies off the shelf. He's one of my personally most wanted killers who I actually think has a chance to get in the game. As far as power goes, I'm not exactly sure how you would do it, but you have to include his iconic lollipop in it. Hereditary, or Midsommar. At some point, behavior should look into adding from the quote-unquote elevated horror, or really just A24 horror world. As much as I can only laugh at A24 claiming every 3 years something is the new scariest movie of all time, or calling it the new Exorcist, they have created a whole new generation of horror fans out there out of film bros and people who normally wouldn't be into the genre. Getting a property from this current horror era will and should eventually happen. If you want to go for a chapter that could legitimately be terrifying, I'd go with Hereditary, but if they're looking for something more marketable and stylish, then I think Midsommar is the way to go. Frankenstein, and The Bride of Frankenstein. I have no idea why we don't have any Universal classic monsters in the game yet, but it's easily one of the most wanted in the game and will legitimately print money for both properties. Everything about Frankenstein and honestly any of the Universal monsters make perfect sense for the game, and it'll give us our first true classic from that period in horror. You could do such a cool map too, whether going with his castle or lab, or you could even do something with a monster at a time, set at a deserted Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. With the popularity and legacy of the characters, and with maybe the future possibility of Dead by Daylight getting a haunted house at Universal for the Horror Nights, it just makes so much sense. It's a total no-brainer to me. I think the best way to go would be kind of like with Chucky, where Frankenstein is the main killer, but then there's a legendary skin of the bride. Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'll keep this quick because everything I said about Frankenstein applies here too, but Creature is my personal favorite. I'd buy him day one, night one, lose every match but still keep playing as him. He's also an archetype in horror they haven't really touched yet with their original killers. Maybe the closest thing is the Hag, but really that's not even close. The design, the atmosphere, and the map possibilities are all perfect. Really, when it comes to the Universal monsters, just all the map possibilities that come to mind are incredible. Imagine like an actual great swamp map, or like an old school drive-in theater where it's like the creature from the Black Lagoon popped out of the screen. Carrie. Stephen King can't keep his properties out of DBD forever, and Carrie is one of the most underutilized characters in horror that has true name value. If they do it right, her telekinetic powers could bring something truly new to the gameplay, but also there is the potential if they do it wrong, it could be gigantic mess gameplay wise. She also fits with one of Behavior's favorite things to do with killers, where she's a deeply sympathetic character. She's not evil by nature and she's more a victim of circumstances. So I don't know if any killers are truly inspired by Carrie on the roster right now, but it is a story element that Behavior goes back to time and time again. Nosferatu. Nosferatu has a legitimate claim as possibly the most legendary imagery of all time in horror. It's easily in the top 10 most popular and influential of all time. His shadow creeping up the stairs is one of the most timeless and effective shots ever put into a film. To be honest, my love of horror films got me into the game more than a love of video games. So ideally I want every era to be represented in the game through licenses or original chapters, and Nosferatu is the rightful poster boy for the silent era. Honestly, using that as inspiration could make for an insanely cool power where you can take away sound from survivors. Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is another film whose legacy is pretty undeniable. It's as beautiful as it is unsettling. As far as a mix of just quality, name brand, and something that has the potential to be one of the best chapters in the game's history, it checks all the boxes. Perfect Blue would also push the game into more surreal and paranoia-driven territory, which I think could be really cool if Behavior really sunk their teeth into it. I feel even the biggest haters of animation and Japanese horror, even they really can't deny Perfect Blue. Also, if you're unfamiliar with Perfect Blue, if you've seen Black Swan, it's kind of the unofficial, official, unofficial, official remake of Perfect Blue. Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd might seem like a deep cut now, but it's one with huge cultural reach. People forget how massively popular Sweeney Todd was. Growing up in the 2000s, he was literally everywhere, especially when the Johnny Depp movie came out. It's had Broadway success, film success, and it's just a really cool and unique idea for a horror character. And like all the ones I mentioned, not only do I think it'd be very successful, I think it'd just be very fun. And with the year Behavior's had, with, the failed attempts at balance updates, the backlash, the disappointment of the Walking Dead chapter, I think the main thing they can really just focus on is fun and bringing in horror characters that people already love. I just want to say thank you so much to anyone who's watched any of my videos. Seriously, the funnest part about these is reading the comments and seeing everybody else's ideas. Eventually, maybe I'll even make a video taking all the comments and everyone's ideas and rating them on a scale of 1 to 10 for likeliness to happen. But yeah, seriously, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day, guys.